2018.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our special election night coverage. I'm Chad Murin.
And I'm Lauren Culver. Thanks for tuning in at 10. Polls across the state are officially closed, and those results, they're coming in fast.
And we're keeping a close eye on all of them. We're going to start with the biggest race in the state. This one has huge national impact, and that is the race for the U.S. Senate. You can see the results coming in here with 79% of the precincts reporting Congressman Kevin Cramer with 57% of the votes. He originally wasn't even going to run for this race. He said he was happy in the House, but after some prodding from the president, he jumped in, and now voters seem to be pleased with that decision. He is ahead 57% to 43.
57%. That one has been called, I believe, by the Associated Press already. North Dakota and the nation have had their eyes on this Senate race for the last 6 months, if not longer.
We're going to go live over to Malik Rankin now. She's standing by at the Republican Victory Party in Bismarck. Malik.
Can you hear us?
Lauren and Chad, it's easy to say that this is a high-energy place. Kevin Cramer just took the stage. It's his first appearance since the vote was called. Let's listen to what he's got to say right now.
This is cool. You know, it would be impossible. It is impossible for me to express the depth of my gratitude for so many people tonight. Many in this room, throughout the state, throughout this country. You know that I'm going to do my best, however, to try and say thank you to as many as possible. But forgive me if I don't name every one of you. Our family has been on quite a journey this year. I don't think there's any mistake about it. After more than a year of persuasion, and I just got off the phone with President Trump and Vice President Pence.
As the energy continues tonight, we'll be hearing more of what Kevin Cramer said, and I will send it back to you both in the studio for now. Thank you.
And just before the president.
Well, having some trouble hearing Malik there, but you could hear a little bit of Congressman Cramer's victory speech, or should we say Senator-elect Cramer now.
That's right.
So let's continue on with our election coverage tonight, moving on over to some statewide measures. Measure 3, the Marijuana Initiative, one of 2 states to put recreational marijuana on the ballot this year. And let's take a look at the results coming in right now. 61% of the vote voting no against legalizing recreational marijuana. Right now, there are 9 states in the country that have legalized it, plus Washington, D.C., but with 79% of the precincts reporting, the no vote is on top right now.
Now moving on to the United States House race. Whoever wins this one will be newly elected. We have 3 candidates here. Kelly Armstrong, Republican; Max Schneider, Democrat; Charles Tuttle, the independent. Kelly Armstrong taking the top spot in Congress, winning easily tonight with 62%.
So a couple new members of our North Dakota legislation now. Now we're going to go live to Renee Cooper. She is at the North Dakota Democratic Party. That one is out in Fargo. Renee.
Thanks, Chad and Lauren. The doors opened up at 8 p.m. here at the DoubleTree in West Fargo. But well before 8, and even before most of the major candidates made their way into Fargo, supporters were lined up well into the lobby. I spoke with 2 of the Democratic candidates in the highly contested races this year. Democratic candidate for Secretary of State Josh Broussais says he's going to continue to work hard in the legislature and bring changes to our election systems and security that way, even if he's not elected. But despite being down in the polls with over half of them reporting, he remains optimistic. Just about a half hour ago, House candidate Max Schneider called his Republican opposition Kelly Armstrong to go ahead and concede the race. He told me if there's ever an opportunity to run again, he'll jump at the chance.
You don't stop fighting for North Dakota. When something's worth fighting for, you keep doing it. And I love this state. This is my home.
It's been a little quiet here at the Democratic Party. It's certainly a packed house with a lot of optimism and certainly a good bit of enthusiasm. But there's been little victories for the party so far. And I've yet to see Senator Heidi Heitkamp, who most supporters and volunteers came out in support of today. Hopefully, guys, we'll get to hear from her soon. I know this crowd is certainly anxious to. For now, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
I bet they are. Renee Cooper reporting live from Fargo. Thank you.
There's another race we've been following that Democrats had high hopes for, and that is the Secretary of State race.
That's right. Voters might have noticed something interesting on this one when voting, because there were 3 candidates, none listed as Republicans. Al Jaeger is on the ballot and is a Republican, but he's listed as an independent. Josh Broussais is the Democrat. Michael Coachman is independent, and Al Jaeger listed as incumbent and independent as well. And Al Jaeger so far in the lead with 79% of the precincts reporting and 49% of the vote. Now taking a look at the race for Agriculture. Commissioner Jim Dotzenrod was the Democrat going up against Republican incumbent Doug Goring. Looks like Doug Goring is in for another 4 years.
Another race we've been watching is for Tax Commissioner incumbent Ryan Rauschenberger. A bit of a controversy surrounding this race. Rauschenberger arrested for DUI last year, and Kylie Overson, the Democratic challenger, even using that dash cam video of that arrest in one of her campaign ads recently, saying this is a man who can't be trusted. However, the voters so far looks like they still trust him to keep the office, with 79% of precincts reporting. Rauschenberger was 60% of the vote tonight.
And in the race for the Attorney General, Wayne Stenehjem has been in office since 2000. David Thompson was his Democratic opponent. Looks like Stenehjem will keep his position as the state's Attorney General. 69% of the vote, 79% of precincts reporting.
The longest serving Attorney General in the state. Now a couple Public Service Commissioner seats on the ballot as well. We're going to start with the 4-year term race. The incumbent in this one was Randy Chrisman. He's been around since 2012 in that seat, and he is looking good to serve another term. He's going up against Democrat Jean Brandt. She has served on several electric cooperatives as the director. She was pointing to that as a reason why she would make a good public service commissioner. However, Chrisman with 63% of the votes so far, looking strong there. Now there was a 2-year term on the ballot as well, and that was for Republican Brian Kraushus. Kraushus up for election as the incumbent, not re-election. He was appointed to this seat by Governor Burgum when Brian Kalk left for the private sector. Kraushus looking good to win his first election, 63% to 37% for Casey Buckman.
And so far this election, measure number 3 has taken up most of the oxygen, but voters did see 3 other measures on their ballots today, including measure number 1. This measure changes a few rules in North Dakota's Constitution. It creates an ethics commission and puts restrictions on lobbyists. This is very close, but so far the yes vote is leading with 53%, but there are still a lot of precincts left to report.
A lot of money being pumped into that race too. We're going to move on to measure 2. Now this was the one that would change the Constitution as to who is allowed to vote. It would really just change one word in the Constitution. Right now it says every citizen of the U.S. can vote. It wants to change it to only a citizen of the U.S. can vote. Supporters saying they wanted to change it to close any potential loopholes there. And 67% of the voters giving that a thumbs up. They say yes, 33% no at this time.
And here's the final measure tonight, measure 4. This one gives first responders a special license plate paid for by the state of North Dakota and the taxpayers. And we like to support our first responders. This was a yes vote overwhelmingly with 63%. One more race to look at in this election for U.S. Supreme Court. Incumbent Lisa Fair McEvers and Robert Belinsky. Lisa Fair McEvers leading right now with 65% of the vote.
A lot of results still coming in to us here at KX News, your local election headquarters. Stick around. We're going to look at some of the legislative races coming up next.